In our efforts to rant, be critics, and to rave, we have become those annoying film guys. In this podcast, we talk about where film has been, is presently, and where cinema is going. Welcome to Rant, Critic, Rave. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rant, Critic, Rave, where we discuss where film has been, is presently, and where cinema is going. I'm in the studio with Joshua Muller, my brother, today. What's up, Josh?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic.
So last week, Russ and I had talked about where film is going, and we kind of branched off into many things. But how did you get into breaking down cinema? And when did you first really become conscious of how a film is broken down? How did you break that fourth wall? That's a lot of questions.
Oh, it's a lot to break down at once. It is. To be honest, when I started breaking down films was, I want to say around 2012. I started seeing a lot more films coming out in theaters. I started seeing budgets just skyrocketing. The MCU was becoming huge at the time. I watched a lot of CinemaSins on YouTube, of course, and it really helped break down and show the more technical aspect of what filmmaking is. I've never been through college for it. I've never really taken many courses. And it just, it was eye-opening to see just how badly you can make a film and what you can get away with, and then the audience will be like, oh no, that's fine, and yet you spent $200 million on a film that was shot in front of a green screen. And then I started rewatching a lot of films when I was younger, or from when I was younger, and I saw that what they could do then is an art that's lost today. Not sure if that answered all the questions, but
No.
it was a lot of questions at once. So I actually have a question for you, Elijah. What made you get into film and then continue with film almost 10, 20 years later down the line?
I grew up watching a lot of old black and white movies, and I always felt that I could connect within a world of film. And when I was about 12 years old, we were living in Boston at the time, and a local channel was putting on a 2-week film school, and I went and took it, and I learned what a long shot was and what a cowboy shot was and, what a dolly was, and my mind exploded because I was really young, and I just felt like movies made themselves. And, at some point in my childhood, I asked my mom if when someone dies in a movie, do they die in real life? Because rarely did we have collections where you would see the same actor multiple times, unless it was like Cary Grant, but he never died in a movie, to where it's gunned down like James Cagney, But I took that and I did some documentaries at that time with the local channel guy, and then we moved and just kept on watching movies, and then in about 2005 I made a short film called Mercs, which I submitted to Tribeca Film Festival. And at that time, the internet was showing more ads, and we saw one for Full Sail University, and I was fortunate to go. But I took it to film school. Then after that, by the time I left film school, I had worked on about 200 shorts because I was an audio guy at the time, and I had bought some gear, an Sennheiser 816, and I just did audio for film for a long time. And then, I believe 2021 is 20, 21 years that I've been doing this And that's crazy to think that you've been around for so long that you've seen like, or been around for 3 generations of movies.
All right, so here's a topic I kind of want to jump into for a minute. So you've went to Full Sail University. You know as well as I do that I haven't been through any film programs to date, and that a lot of the old films that I've watched from the 1920s to the 1940s, to where I've grabbed this idea of what filming is and was. I got that from the film list that you showed me. And we've kind of hit on the same ideas and the same tracks of where film is and it has gone.
And I just want to interject, when he says film list, we had TCM.
Oh, yes.
And I would DVR a whole bunch of movies, and I would be like, Josh, you have to watch this one and this one.
And it'd be like he'd give me 10 films at once, and we're talking everything TCM could push out at that time, that we would literally record everything possible. And I would, on my days off, I would watch as much as I could, and I used to keep a little book of what movies I'd watched, and a little bit later down the line, I started, kind of putting stars by them and showing what I enjoyed, But do you think that film school is necessary to becoming a filmmaker, or having that as credentials to becoming a filmmaker in today's terms, or even when we considered it to be a great director? Is it needed when in the end almost all of it is just subjective?
Yeah, I don't think.
and I know we have the independent market, which does not require it, but then you have Hollywood that demands this stuff.
Well, I think some of the greats have been to film school. Like Steven Spielberg. I'm thinking Zuckerberg here. But Steven Spielberg, that crew at that time. Is it necessary? It's not necessary. Like, what I found was that I wanted to be a director. So I hung out with a bunch of directors, and you start picking up what they're doing and what the human condition is with directing other humans and trying to coach them how to be fake. And so that's something film school is not going to teach you. And for your shots, I've shot on 35 millimeter, 16 millimeter.
You can learn the Dutch angle very, very quickly if you just watch a couple films, and then you realize that, well, in some movie aspects, you just need to use this kind of an angle with this kind of a lens, and you just kind of learn that.
I'll put it like this: I've never been hired for a film gig because I went to college. That has never happened. I haven't even shown those credentials to anybody and gotten special treatment for it. And when we graduated Full Sail, me and a whole bunch of the classmates, because Full Sail would just dump out students, and when I graduated, I went to Los Angeles. I lived in Burbank. I was fortunate to live on Burbank. A lot of history around there, but when I actually heard more people say, "Oh, a Full Sail student, we won't take you." Like, it was actually slander to be said to say you were from Full Sail, because they literally put out so many people that shouldn't be there. And then they would go and just mess up on set. Like, don't talk to actors. If you're not the director or someone important, just don't talk to the actors. And Full Sail students would go to Hollywood and then start talking to actors. And you're like, no. I think going to college can help sidestep some early projects, but, not even college can prepare you to film on a beach and a sandstorm kicks up. How do you protect your gear? How do you still get the shots? If you're on a legit set, you'd probably shut it down, but independents would be like, no, we got everyone today. We're going to ride this out in the van, and then we're going to get back out there. It's just doing it. I understand. Like, I don't know. You still have to be intelligent to go to film school. And you have to be intelligent to start breaking down movies. You know?
Is it important to know how to break down films? In my eyes, it is very important to literally hate what you love, so that way you know how to rebuild it better, and to stay away from the trends that are literally just trends to sell a film because it's backed by millions of dollars, and we're getting close to over 2/3 of $1 billion to make a film nowadays. And we're not talking everyone, but we're just talking actors and stuff like that are a third of the budget sometimes. In my eyes, I view it as important to be able to break down films, hate certain films for the atrocities that they brought out, and just
I mean, that's why we started
bad
Rant+Critic Rave.
filmmaking.
I mean, there's some real trash out there.
Is it important
and
to know how to break down a film in your eyes? To me, it is. In your eyes, is it important?
Yeah, I think you have to. In my mind, if you... Like, Rant+Critic Rave is for filmmakers. So when I'm talking out there to listening land, I'm talking to filmmakers here. If you want to be in the film industry, you have to start breaking down movies. You have to, if you're going to go to a 40-foot screen and not understand what it took to get that shit in the image,
Yeah, but now you have fathers and mothers literally saying that they're taking their children there so that way they can have some time while their kid is literally being entertained in front of a 40-foot screen, and they're taking a nap. And they're like, oh, yeah, I zone out all the time and just play on my phone, and it's for the kid. And I'm talking like kid films and stuff like that, stuff that they show their children. It's like Frozen. You hear people say that they've taken their kid to see Frozen. And I know it's been out of theaters for years now, but you still have people that say that. I was like, yeah, I've had to watch Frozen 20 times because my kid wanted to watch it 5 times a day for a week straight.
Yeah, let me also say, when we were growing up, we only watched movies on the weekend. It was probably until I was probably like 14.
Yeah, I was real young before we were allowed to watch movies on like weekdays. It wasn't really until we went. It wasn't until we came back from Maine and everything happened with the family and we started going to high school that did things get lax in the home for us. So watching movies at that point, and a lot of it was still, very family friendly. I'm growing up in a Christian home for the time.
Yeah, I remember there's a moment in my head where we were living in Virginia.
Room?
Yeah,
It was all the way downstairs, and you had to call up for what everyone wanted to watch.
Yeah,
and you only got to watch one movie on a Saturday night.
Yeah, and as around like Windows 96 era, Windows 95 era,
95 XP,
we were able to play games, and it was you either played a game on the weekend or watched a movie.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so when we would watch a movie, it meant something. Like you didn't watch it 100 times. Like we might have watched, The Great Escape over 10, 11,
yeah, but that was
times,
over the course of 2 years.
Yeah, that was over the course of a long time.
I remember you guys wanted to watch The Bridge Over the River Kwai like 2 weeks in a row when I was like, no, this is boring. And it wasn't until I became an adult and I rewatched it and I was like, oh my God, it's an amazing film. But as a kid, it's who cares?
I don't know. I was always fascinated.
Who knew a David Lean? Who knew him at the time? Or that Obi-Wan Kenobi was, one of the POWs.
Oh,
you don't know any of that.
Hold on. Who is it? Shit. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh,
man.
I can kind of remember his name.
Alec Guinness.
Yeah. You ever watch? You've seen it. I know you have. Dr. Zhivago.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's tough.
As a kid, that'd probably be boring for me.
It's tough watching Obi-Wan Kenobi playing a Russian in that movie.
But movies were something when we were growing up, and it, yeah, you know, they meant something. So when we, growing up, I'd say watching kids just watch the same movie. Like parents will say a kid watched Frozen 37 times and it's only been out for a week. It's just,
What's great?
what are they digesting? Because if you've watched Frozen,
What's great is I never have to watch Bambi again or any of the old, old cartoon Disney films. I mean, I still enjoy the adult or the live action films they started putting out in the '80s. No Deposit, No Return, all the stuff with
the early Kurt Russell stuff.
Yeah, Kurt Russell. Yeah, and I'm not
My
even
Dog
talking about
Barabbas.
Yeah, we're talking like that era. I still love rewatching those because they're well done. But the cartoons to me are kind of over. Like I'd never want to watch Beauty and the Beast again. I've seen it so many times. Why the hell would I want to watch it again?
Sleeping Beauty's a classic, though.
Well, yeah, but I don't have to rewatch it because I already know what it's like
Robin
to watch
Hood.
it.
I'll watch Robin Hood a lot.
I will rewatch Robin Hood, but that's like The Amazing Mr. Limpid.
That's a great movie.
It's a great movie, but I never have to watch it again.
I have it on DVD, and I keep on meaning to watch it.
I enjoy, and
I got that at Walmart for $3.74. Talking about that, in this time in history, what the heck's today? Tuesday?
June 29th on
June 29th. In my lifetime, I remember when Pushing Daisies was coming out on TV and you could buy it. It took a long time to come to DVD, but when it did come to DVD, you get it for $16. I saw it on Amazon new for $100 for season 1 and 2.
Well, it's like Animal Olympics. Good luck trying to even find it. And if you find a VHS, it's like $80 nowadays.
It's on Amazon now. The DVD's on Amazon.
Oh, I think it's like
$16.
I don't think it's a proper port.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Well, okay.
Well,
I believe it is.
Regardless, you do find it's like older games. You find tons of them online for literally triple to double their price, and you're just like, why? Why did it go skyrocket so much when I can't even play this anymore? It's like VHS. Good luck trying to get a VHS player in today's terms. You can get them, but they're just outrageous, and you can't even buy them new sometimes.
Yeah, also, I mean, we started Rant+Critic Rave to rant and rave about all this stuff. But, I mean, this isn't even like a hipster D-bag kind of thing. But, I mean, when
I enjoy watching a film.
Since Y2K, dial up, my friends, dial up, to 2021, so much has freaking changed in the industry, in our lives. In Y2K, we were worried about computers going to 2000, and now you have Amazon in your home where you can walk from your kitchen to your living room and say, "Hey Alexa, can you play my favorite movie on my TV?"
And people know
that is some shit that even in 2000 people said was sci-fi. And I remember 1998 when the game Half-Life came out, and what a crazy stir that was. I mean, I am just saying, we are coming from a time when video games were 1991, like Monkey Island type stuff.
When games were built properly to the point, and I don't mean properly, but you still have these $60 games popping out that you're only getting 1/3 of its value at $60. And back then it was like, no, you're literally a group of guys trying to push out a game that someone might like, and you're releasing it at a good price. But I mean, yeah, when that stuff was coming out, people had a lot more on their minds versus, oh, I need to buy a new game, or I need to keep up with the latest film. And somehow we got to that point to where we sit now.
I think I am just saying, like, from the point of 2000 to 2021, so much has changed that it's just, once again, we are not even 100 years into the sound in film. And, you know, even if you were like, yeah, but we were shooting film in the late 1800s, there's stuff earlier. Listen, like, cinema, at least cinema quality, some kind of stage, and something. Not the kissing couple. Like,
You know, I don't know how we got to Transformers, and everyone knew it was a shit movie then. They still know it today, that it's more of a joke than anything else, and that what the series went in and became, and then that influenced Pirates of the Caribbean to take the same stance, and then
I mean,
a whole bunch
let's
of
talk about that. Like, okay, if we're gonna be snobs about
like
this,
brand
like annoying thing,
association to the point that they sold out their
Transformers
films.
is a whole series that is based on the reuse of the same special effects, the same cliches. You can see
7
the
movies, I
exact
believe?
same photography. The music isn't even interesting. The shots are not interesting.
The jokes of ripping his pants down in front of all his buddies gets kind of old after the 4th film.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you want to see how Michael Bay uses the same effects all the time, and we're not talking about the Alcatraz Michael Bay, we're talking about Transformers here, okay? Like, those movies are trash. Alvin and the Chipmunks are trash movies, you know?
Movies that didn't even need to be created or made, and it literally brought in all these things that you never really had to
I mean,
think
we
about.
can't, in 2021, we can't even keep any kind of consistency of any series. Fast 9, okay, is a ridiculous
It's a
fucking movie.
superhero
Like,
movie
come
now.
on. Like, I get it. Like, let's zone. Like, Triple X3, The Return of Xander Cage, was dumb.
I haven't seen it yet.
That was dumb. A DJ superpower guy who can pump up the crowd so they can escape. Are you joking with me?
So the real question is,
Like, somebody kept on going and filming, and they kept on going, and you're just like, look, at some point, this brain, like, okay, let me put it like this. I ask a bunch of people why they like Rick and Morty, and 99% of the time, and I ask a lot of people, because a Rick and Morty fan is going to tell you when Rick and Morty's on. They're going to tell you how funny Rick and Morty was. They just will. I asked them, what do you like about Rick and Morty? 99% of everyone I have asked has said, well, it's really stupid. So congratulations, world. You get to watch something that's really stupid. And I'm talking 99% of every Rick and Morty fan that I have seen or talked to. The first thing they say is it's stupid. You can ask them why they watch Adult Swim, and they go, well, it's stupid. You know, and then you got, like, Dr. Dolittle, okay? If you have not seen the original Dr. Dolittle, you should. It's a great movie. It's Rex Harrison. It's fantastic. The remake, I am just saying, if you endorse Dr. Dolittle, the remake, at all, like, it's pathetic. It really is. It was to go and open up a dragon's butt at the end so it can fart. If you endorse that, like, that's, we stand on the back of film giants. We had D.W. Griffith. And if you don't know who D.W. Griffith is, you can look him up. There's a box set you can get. I think it's like $80, $90 now. It has The Birth of the Nation in it. God, I'm blanking on the other names. But we come from a time when they built sets to make a point in a movie. And
the
now
original Ben-Hur built an entire chariot racing track and then used it.
Now, I get there was trash in those days as well. But I am just saying, we are entering idiocracy at this moment because Dr. Dolittle was about a frickin' dragon fart, and idiocracy is when we all stare at TVs watching farts all day. And I feel, again, that's why we're creating Rant+Critic Rave, so we can talk with filmmakers and, you know, we can start thinking again about movies. You know, there's just, when we were growing up, there was a certain level of maturity in movies that was present. and the generation that's going to follow, what really are we going to let, like, in this point in time, Boss Baby 3 is coming out. Like, is that really what children should be filling their heads with?
Is this still voiced by Alec Baldwin?
I think so.
I mean, that's pretty scary on its own, is that Alec Baldwin, and people know who Alec Baldwin is and what he's done before. He's going to voice that, and it's meant for children. And it's going to, I'm assuming, I've never watched the series. I don't care to ever watch the series. But I'm assuming it deals with a lot of adult issues. It's like Baby Genius, trash film. But it brought in a lot of adult-mindedness to a child's film that should have never been presented.
It's almost as creepy as when you go back in time and you see the, oh my God, Alfalfa. One of the kids is Alfalfa.
The young, or the Little Rascals.
The Little Rascals. There were movies where they had children in, like, saloons. And they had the cigarette girls, which were, children. And, they put these children in adult situations and adult clothing, And
then young children thought that was the what they needed to resemble.
And I just feel like we're kind of doing that same thing where if you watch the Little Rascals or the cast in Little Rascals doing things like that, you would be taken aback. You'd be like, what? And it's just, it's now in this cartoonish way, and it's just, we got to get back to thinking about what is going on with movies and those that are making it. So next week, Josh and I will continue our conversation of where film has been, is presently, and where cinema is going. And we'll dive deeper into our personal experiences, and we'll have some filmmakers on in later episodes, and we'll get their personal experiences and just where we can take our personal experiences and say, what's going on cinema. So I'm Elijah.
I'm Joshua.
And we'll catch you guys next week. And if you have any comments, just put them on down below, and we'll read them off in the next podcast. Alrighty, guys.